Greetings, everybody. This is seed presentation. It's our 20th intergenerational meeting. Our guest this time is Professor Emel Baştürk from Faculty of Communication, Kocaeli University, Turkey. She will be talking on cyberbullying. I believe it will be an interesting talk. We do not have much participant in our Zoom meeting for the time being, but I believe we will have the chance to follow it on the recorded meeting at our YouTube channel. Welcome among us, Emel Baştürk. May we start listening to you?
Of course, thank you for your invitation. I can share my slides first. I think you can see it.
Yeah.
Okay. And let's do it to big screen. Yes, it's okay. Yeah, today we are talking about cyberbullying experience in Turkey among secondary school students. And first, I would like to introduce myself. I'm Professor Emel Baştürk, Information and Communication Technologies Department. Actually, my primary study field is about traditional and new media studies. I'm studying about news producing process and representation of the media. But more than 10 years, I have been studying about cyberbullying. I mean, internet usage of adolescents in Turkey and online risk. Because the internet usage of adolescent has been really rising in Turkey. Maybe since 10 years, from 10 years. And however, these developments have brought new problems for today's next generation or digital native children. With the increased internet usage, social media has become not only an area for positive social interaction, but also a venue for cyberbullying among adolescents. I mean, I would like to say that we know that internet usage has both sides. We can say that the internet come up and give us so many opportunities, but the other side, this area has so many risks, especially for the children and adolescents. What is cyberbullying? I would like to describe the term first. There are so many term descriptions about cyberbullying, and maybe 10 years before, the description was also controversial. But now we are clear about the description. Willful and repeated harm inflicted through the use of computers, cell phones, and other electronic devices. Cyberbullying is a kind of bullying that takes place over digital devices like cell phones, computers, and tablets, and can occur in SMS, text, apps, or online in social media forums and gaming. mostly we are ignoring the cyberbullying in online gaming, but it is another issue actually. Cyberbullying includes sending, posting, sharing negative, harmful, false, or mean content about someone else. It can include sharing personal or private information about someone else, causing embarrassment or humiliation. Some cyberbullying crosses the line into unlawful or criminal behaviors. But mostly we don't say it criminal behaviors because it depends on the age and of course the type of the bullying. You know, we are not talking about adults. And how does cyberbullying come up? There are so many different types actually, and getting more, I mean, these types getting more and more depending on the new application or new tools, digital tools. For example, we didn't talk about the TikTok 10 years before, but now TikTok is really common social media application, especially for the adolescents. And there are some other cyberbullying types in TikTok and some other online games. Taking images of an individual or victim via mobile devices such as smartphones and tablets, sharing them on social networks without their consent. Preparing a defamatory and humiliating web page for someone, sharing a person's personal information on social networks without his knowledge and consent, gossiping, rumor about someone in virtual environments with instant chat programs, sending insulting, teasing, treating sexual harassment or violent messages. Peer bullying. I want to describe peer bullying also. It is the repeated exposure of a student to aggressive, unsettling, damaging behavior by another student or group of students, physically or verbally. There is a power disparity between a child who behaves bullying and is bullied. Most of the peer bullying cases happen this way. I mean, we talk about power disparity. However, it cannot be said that cyberbullying has a significant power imbalance, because mostly we see that in personal life, some children or adolescents, so kind, I mean, so respectful, and they can be bullied on online platforms. That is why we say that cyberbullying is the awareness or understanding cyberbullying is a bit difficult when we compare the peer bullying. I conducted a research project with the financial support of Turkish Scientific and Research Council. And I would like to thank Research Council again. Its name was Developing Awareness of Cyberbullying in Primary Education Youth in Turkey, a field study on perception, prevalence, and awareness of cyberbullying. It took 2 years research project. It was. In this project, what we did, we conducted a survey first in 7 cities in Turkey. We call 7 regions. There are 7 regions in Turkey, and we picked the biggest cities in 7 regions. And we conducted a survey with 7th and 8th grade students. Totally with 1,400 participants. And after the survey, we conducted a focus group interview, and we selected the the same cities and the same provinces. I mean, we conducted the survey with the willingly students. We conducted a focus group interview and totally 81 participants. And after the research, at the end of the research, we created educational materials using the findings of the fieldwork. I would like to share some rates about my from my findings. We see the most the ranks first in both cyberbullying victims and perpetrators in Istanbul. You know, this is the biggest city of Turkey, and the internet usage rates is the most higher city. It has been observed that cyberbullying experiences are directly proportional to the frequency of the internet usage. According to the result of Ankara, the capital city of Turkey, you know, cyber victims rates are 17 and bully 14.5%. It is, you can see the lower than Istanbul. And we see that the other important findings actually, 7.5% of the students are both cyber bullies and cyber victims. I mean, the children can be both bully and cyber victims. And that is why we say that to realize the cyberbullying cases as soon as possible, it is important because the victims can be cyberbullies after they expose the cyberbullying. If anyone, I mean, what's that? If anyone stop this situation, they can be bullied as a reaction. And when we see the internet usage in Turkey, about actually more than 80% of secondary school students in Turkey have a computer and internet connection. I think this is higher nowadays today. Internet usage rate is increasing rapidly. About 80% of students have accounts on social networks. More than 20% of respondents use the internet primarily for accessing social networks. But we conducted the research before pandemic. I think that after the pandemic, the rates are changed, was changed, I think. Maybe social networks and education rates getting higher. I don't know. But just this is a guess. I mean, cyberbullying and victim scale. I want to say something. We use cyberbullying and victim scale in our questionnaire, but alongside the scale, we asked some other questions. It was like a checking questions, I mean. And after that, we see that when we ask the directly cyberbullying experience, as we can see here, the rates occur a bit lower, victims and bully, you can see it. And in the scale, we listed the behaviors we can describe cyberbullying. And we asked the students, have you ever been involved in this behavior, or have you ever been experienced this behavior? And they tick yes or no. And then we ask that, have you ever do it before? And then we see that actually most of the students experience cyberbullying in somehow, but they don't describe it cyberbullying. For example, you can see the numbers on the table. Sending abusive messages, we can see it more than half of the participants say that, yes, I experienced it. Yes, at least once. Teasing, you can see it's also more than half. Taking nicknames, more than half. And aggressive behaviors that students reported doing to others at least once in their lives. When we ask, did you do this? Yeah, you see that the rate's getting lower. But teasing about 41%, make fun of information or post shared by others. 34.5%, sending abusive messages or bad language. They said this is the same rate. You can see it. Abusing message. Some of the children told us in the focus group interview, make fun of information or post shared. I don't want to share or post anything on my social media accounts because my friends teasing this or make some bad comments or dislike it. I mean, this is, they feel uncomfortable on social media platform because of this behavior. And disclosure is also among the most common cyberbullying type. And we want to see the consequences of cyberbullying. And we classified the consequences, emotional consequences and the behavioral consequences. We can see the anger is the highest rate, has the highest rate. And it depends on the sex, gender. Young boys mostly say they feel anger. Girls say sadness or disappointment. Yeah, but I can say that being bullied and victims, I cannot say that there is a meaningful difference between sex, at least in my research. There are some research reveal that the boys can become more bully and the girls become, the girls' rate is a bit lower. But in my research, there is no meaningful differences being bully and victims. But we can see the differences about the consequences, maybe the emotions, we can say. Treat friends differently, feeling unwell physically, feeling lonely, sleep disorder, and the last one is anorexia. Behaviors: blocking online content, appearing offline, telling a school friend, telling my family members. Telling a school friend's hi is rate is higher than the family members. Deleting the content, it is an evidence actually, this is not a good way. Telling an online friend, laughing away, retaliate, changing name online, etc. And I want to say something. Telling the teacher, they reported after to inform the police. I think this is the most important findings, also one of the most important findings. The students in Turkey, mostly they don't want to share cyberbullying cases with their teacher or school administrations. They are not key findings of focus group. They are not inclined to share their experiences with school management or teachers when they encounter cyberbullying. They do not see their cyberbullying experience as an issue that concerns the school administration. When they report it to school administration or teachers, they worry that issue will escalate and families get involved. And most of the students are worried that their families will prevent them from using the internet. In Turkey, mostly the families, we can say it, moral panic. They're really wondering about the internet usage of their children. Maybe overdose worrying, we can say it, I don't know. Perceived parental internet monitoring. We also want to see the children's perceived about their parental internet monitoring. Have they shared their cyberbullying experience with their parents? We asked this question. Student perceptions of their parents' internet mediation. We can classify the answers about parental monitoring and the attitudes toward internet use. We have 3 categories. One of them is my parents attempt to regulate my internet use by employing many strategies, the most frequently given answer by the students. They say, yes, they want to regulate my internet use and using many strategies. The second one is my parents do not need to regulate my internet use. And the third one is my parents cannot regulate my internet use even if they want. How do parents regulate their children's internet use? We also classified these strategies. Placing password on the computer, filtering for blocking unwanted websites. We give a color to students who participate in our focus group interview. This is blue. Said that my father attempts to place a password on my computer with my mom's provocation. Since I look at password in secret, it does not cause any problem for me and I go online again. The second one, taking away the mobile phone, computer, or deleting game. They take my iPad if I get low exam grades. Yeah, this is another issue in Turkey. We have so many examinations for the children. That's why mostly the parents concerned about the academic successful. I was playing a lot with my phone, so they deleted the games. The other strategy, the third one, warn, have a talk. Generally, my mom says not to go online a lot, etc. They tell me about the danger of the internet. And the fourth one, interfere with the computer, mobile phone. They do not restrict, but they interfere. Sometimes they say, I have looked at your Facebook. What were these messages? But they can block you, you know. I have 2 kids, not kids, they are young. But I cannot follow them on social media. They blocked me. Yeah, the first one, the first time my son blocked me because I write a comment about his post. I said, oh, you look so handsome, my baby. And then immediately he blocked me. You shouldn't do that. They don't like it. And yeah, my parents do the second one. I'm talking about the children answers. My parents do not need to regulate my internet use because I do not spend a lot of time on the internet. I'm doing well in my classes. They say if I get good points from my examination, everything is fine. We should think about it. Is it the good way or not? They trust me. Some of them say it. They are looking at my social media profiles. I give my password to them. So self-confidence. They are looking at what I'm doing online, so they do not appear me. The The third one, my parents cannot regulate my internet use even if they want. I can await, they say, I can await parental regulation with the help of my technological skills. Some students from Ankara said that I have the competence to await regulation. First of all, there are passwords. After passwords, there are also passwords in the software. They cannot regulate. My mobile phone is always with me. There are 3 passwords for my computer, etc., etc. I ignore their warnings about internet use. Some participants say that. They leave me alone because I do not listen to them. They told me a lot, but since I do not listen to them, they do not tell me anymore. Reasons for parental internet mediation. We want to understand the parents, why they want to mediate or regulate their children's internet use. Parents attempt to limit the time their children spend on the internet because they are concerned that when their children spend too much time on the internet, they will spend less time on their studies and they will fail their exams. Want their children to socialize offline, not only online. Think that their children will have health problems and will be addicted to the internet. Actually, you know, I'm a communication academician. That is why we are trying to avoid using the addiction terms. It is another things, but in Turkey, this is it is a big concerning about addiction. Do not adolescents approve of these regulations? The students who do not welcome the restrictions and bans made mention. They want to personal liberty. They think that this is restriction about their personal liberty. Using the internet consciously is a more efficient way of reducing risk. Too many restrictions will damage the trust between their parents. Okay, what can we do to prevent cyberbullying or coping with cyberbullying? We always recommend the triangle. Students, school teachers, or administrations and parents. They should work together, actually. Coping with cyberbullying, a positive climate based on respect and trust should be created at school. For this purpose, schools should have programs about cyberbullying. To raise awareness among school staff, families, and students that cyberbullying is a serious problem and the harm it can cause. To inform families, teachers, and students about their role in the prevention of cyberbullying. Because we can see that parents want to do some things, but we don't know that they are they do it in a good way. We don't know that. That is why the parents needs also an education and awareness how they can do that, and without losing their trust with the children or losing their good relation between their children. I like the peer support programs, and always I recommend these programs. Getting help from peer support programs. Peer support programs constitute the most important pillar of efforts to reduce and prevent cyberbullying in schools. These programs generally include providing peer cooperation training to a group of students who have developed school social skills and have positive characteristics. Because we saw these are findings also from our research. Students prefer to share when they experience a cyberbullying. to share with the friends rather than their families or their teachers. They want to share it with friends, I mean, with their peer. That is why we recommend that the peer support programs. There are examples of successful peer support programs. I want to show some examples. For example, Beat Bullying program. This is a UK-based program, and they create some cyber mentors in the schools. Pantalas Amigas, it is another peer support programs. As far as I know, it is a Spanish-based program, and they got some fund from European Union fundings. And Anti-Bullying Week, and this is another UK project. November, yeah. They sharing, they post about anti-bullying, cyberbullying, posted all the weeks, and they organize some events about cyberbullying during this week in the schools. They get a networks in the UK, and some schools participate in this network. And during this week, they organize so many events to get awareness, to get higher the awareness about cyberbullying. And also they share these events on the social media accounts. It is like a fest, I think. I like this, the positive way, I like it. And they use the outside-based anti-bullying pellets. You can see some of the activities in the schools. They choose to be kind, like this. We will say stop the bullies. Yes, and conclusion. Cyberbullying is seen as an important problem all over the world, not only in Turkey. I can say regarding my and other research, 1 in 5 adolescents abuse cyberbullying in some way. Restrictions or bans are not the way to deal with cyberbullying. Respecting differences, awareness of their rights and freedoms online and offline. It should be aimed at raising individuals who are conscious internet users. Yeah, and thank you. For your attention.
We thank you a lot for this interesting and impressive activity you have achieved.
Thank you. I want to stop my sharing.
All number. Oh, okay.
No. Can you see me? I think you cannot see me because what happened? I don't know what happened.
You could stop sharing if you would like.
Yeah, I would like, but I couldn't do that.
Maybe you stop your video, not sharing.
Yes, you're right. I did.
Anyway, does anyone want to say anything about this presentation? We have, please, Ferhat.
First of all, thank you, Dr. Emel. It's just your presentation makes some points in my mind. First of all, I want to say that it's like there's one fund that you say that just victims or who are bullied, they don't speak with their teachers or school administration. And yeah, actually it's a main point, but like it's not surprising, I guess, because teachers and parents' attitudes mostly are like putting pressure on children, and like actually it's like it make person feel guilty, and it's like feel shame. That's why they don't want to share with their parents or teachers, because they know that maybe their parents are gonna accuse him or her and like, you know, limit their internet usage. That's why it's, I guess, main problem. And maybe with like trying to change, we need to try to change the parents' perception about internet and know that actually it's a normal thing, and trying to change their attitudes to topic, and maybe it can increase like is a rate of children to speak about that topic with their teachers or school administration. And peer support group, I think that's the main point actually for that like issue, because it's really so relevant to speak with someone who experienced that and like talk your problems freely, and it makes you feel more confident and more like relaxed. And that's why, yeah, maybe we need to increase peer support groups. When I never heard about that in Turkey, even in our university. And it's not actually also related to cyberbullying. It's like related to other issues too. We have a lot of problems, but we never speak about them, and the attitudes never change. And that's why it's like the numbers are increasing like that.
Yeah, you are right. Can I say something? Yes, you are right. When we completed our research project, we also conducted some social project. One of them was with the cooperate with Samsung Turkey, and we gave some training in more than 10 schools, and we make some events or activities in 10 schools. And also the educational minister, we made some we made some meetings. Yeah, about it, but it is not enough. You're right. It is not enough to change something.
Yeah, and yes. At one point you say that we try to not say addiction, I guess. Yeah, just I didn't get that point actually. You say that we are trying to not say addiction to that internet usage, or just maybe I misheard it.
Yeah, actually this is my personal choice actually, because maybe before 10 years so many people say the children get addict on internet. It is like moral panic. They get the overdose concerning. And I'm not a psychologist, or this is not my topic. That's why I don't want to say it addiction. Can I explain myself? I want to say that overdose internet usage. Yeah, overdose. I would prefer it. I prefer to use this word.
Thanks so much.
And they are talking about online gaming addiction. And I think it's getting, like a tragedy, getting more bad situation. I don't believe that. I don't think that so many kids addict on the online game. Yes, they are maybe playing too much. I'm not sure. Is it an addiction? Yeah. Yes, David?
Well, thank you. I enjoyed your presentation. I wonder if you could comment on, we're currently involved in doing some global studies on suicide. adolescent suicide across the globe. And there's been some really interesting work. And cyberbullying is something that's turning out to be kind of an important point. I wonder, based on your research, if you could comment on degrees of cyberbullying and the dramatic increase in adolescent suicide we've seen around the world, both in high income and lower and middle income countries.
Yeah, I couldn't get the question. Sorry, can you say it again?
Billy, if you could talk about the increasing reports of relationship between cyberbullying and the increase in adolescent suicide globally.
Actually, I cannot say exact things about suicide and cyberbullying, but I know that there are some suicide cases because of the cyberbullying. And also there are some association or NGOs about cyberbullying, and one of them, the manager of her daughter suicide because of cyberbullying. But I don't have some exact rates about suicide. And I want to say it again, I'm studying about communication, suicide, addiction. This is not my study field, and it is a bit risky. That is why I don't want to talk about this. You see?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, communication, academician, suicide, maybe it is risky for me. I don't want to talk about this much.
I understand.
I study only the using internet and the online risk. We choose these terms. Media studies.
Thank you.
Yes, Bülent hocam.
Yeah, actually, other than cyberbullying, your attitude towards limits of different disciplines is very important, and we should underline that. You do not want to talk about other aspects of cyberbullying or its consequences, which you say is the area of other disciplines.
Yes, I want to limit it in my, I want to limit it in my discipline because, you know, we studied with the children, and I'm not coming from the educational discipline or some other discipline. We would like to limit it in our study file. And actually we want to show the findings because in Turkey, the teachers and some government members talking about the risk of the internet usage, but they didn't have any numbers. We didn't know what happened on online platform in Turkey, what they experience about it, and we would like to see it, and we would like to maybe show the educators and some other disciplines in Turkey, the children experience this kind of things, and you can take these findings and maybe make a roadmap in your discipline. Yeah.
I would like to ask you if we can consider having another research on this through our SEED, Students' Education, Empowerment and Development Group. Although we are very few here, we have some other representatives from different countries. And we have our chair who is an expert in such studies. Maybe we can consider running another activity together. What would you say, David?
Yeah.
I think that's an excellent idea. The grant that we're submitting, actually in 10 days, we're looking at kind of factors with adolescent suicide. And what's very interesting is if you look at the largest studies that have been done to promote resilience, it's exactly what you said. It's the peer group. So the Amico Charlie project that we developed in Italy about 20 years ago, a project that was developed in Japan. One of the most successful interventions was the peer group, just as you'd mentioned. And peer groups, obviously, bringing the parents, as you noted, that the children sometimes, reject the idea of limit setting. So I think Bullan has an excellent idea, and we should collaborate on really looking specifically at cyberbullying and what's effective in that. I think we're seeing could be very effective in many aspects of adolescent suicide.
Not only for the suicide, the general mental health for the kids, because I know so many cases. I studied with the school administrations in so many cases, because they are thinking about the punishment. They want to go out to children involving the cyberbullying, and this is not a solution also. And they don't know, the educators not exactly know what can do that, the punishment, or how they can, getting better the environment in the school. And that is why I want to recommend the peer support groups, because sometimes if they cannot involve in a good way, in a positive way, you can lose the children also. And there is another risk. But sometimes teachers don't want to say it, because they said we have so many responsibilities, but they have many.
It's about changing culture. And to change a culture, you need to engage all the stakeholders, the teachers, the parents, the students themselves. Where we've engaged sports figures and entertainment figures, projects that we've done in Malaysia, for example. So I think you're right. The answer isn't creating, punishment, because it's sometimes difficult to even track on the internet. That's part of cyberbullying, is can be relatively anonymous. But I think I really agree with your comment about looking at this as changing social norms, getting the adolescents to work together, to engage the stakeholders in a way, with the idea being to change the culture, that this is just not acceptable behavior. It's not funny. Some people think, well, no one gets hurt by it. And we've had the adolescents say, I didn't want to hurt anybody, but, it made them feel better, or they thought it was funny. Say, no, it's not. These are these microaggressions is a term that's been used. And I think really a campaign that is positive, as you said, that that supporting each other is good for the quality of health and mental health, and that we all need to be there for each other. So I think that the campaigns that you mentioned could be a very interesting study. We could do it in different regions. As I say, we're just putting in a NIMH grant in the US, but looking at an LMIC. So I think you're right. Looking at it as punishing the behavior could actually make it worse. And I think, taking a more positive approach, that, as you recommended, would be an excellent way to study this. And I think Bullan has a really good idea that we should follow up on.
Thank you.
Thank you. Irem, would you like to say anything?
Okay, thank you for this presentation. I was thinking about, we have talked about cyberbullying in adolescents and maybe younger kids. I was thinking about some bullying problems in maybe universities. Actually, before university, I was thinking it will be finished when we pass to the university. But now that I'm thinking, actually, we have some problems even in medical school about this. So I was just thinking about this kind of things. I mean, one can think that university or college students or even medical students must know that they can hurt others' feelings and they can damage other people, and they should know this, and they should act according to this, but they don't. So I was thinking just about that. We talked about the seed group, and maybe we can involve this project. Maybe we can conduct a project or a research, including some medical school, and I don't know if it is applicable to the.
Sorry, and we can compare some other countries also.
Yeah.
Another good research, yeah, because our research is limited in Turkey, but maybe we can compare to other countries.
You know what's fascinating is I've been able to look at this in a number of different countries, and what's so striking is how similar it is. You would think it would be very different, whether it's cultures, again, low and middle income, highly religious countries, countries that are viewed as much more open, that when you look at the data, and again, I think we need more of the data, but what's out there, there was a study that looked at 53 LIMCs and about 166,000 adolescents. And what was amazing, and we're seeing the same thing now within the US and comparing it, is the commonality, which I think is very important and very interesting, that, and we should continue to study it, but it appears like financial and religious and spiritual things that you think might have alterations really don't. That it looks very similar in Egypt as it looked in Japan, as it looked in Italy, in the United States, in rural areas, poor areas, and in very rich areas. I live in a very rich part of the US, Los Angeles, one of the richest cities, and San Francisco in the country, and it amazes me how there's such little variation. And I think that in and of itself is worthy of studying. That maybe has more to do with, adolescent development than other factors. But I think, more studies are needed, and you raise again some very important points.
I think I want to say something about Turkey. I think, about 10 years. I was talking about before 10 years. We talk about how we can restrict internet usage of children. We didn't talk about how we can educate the children. I think we missed something at the beginning, and
Absolutely.
Now, we have so high rates about cyberbullying, and we didn't know how they harmful. I'm sure that we don't know how it is harmful in Turkey and some other countries. And I want to add something also. In UK and in Denmark, cyberbullying rates are so high. But I read in a research or a comment in Denmark, because I surprised. I thought that in Denmark it wasn't so high. But I read something. They said in Denmark, the children labeled so many behavior as cyberbullying. You couldn't tell me, say, it is bullying, it is bullying. But in Turkey, we don't label some behaviors as cyberbullying or as bullying. It is normal. Sometimes that is why we should understand the cultural differences also. Maybe the children in Turkey more unlucky, maybe, or less awareness. I mean, I want to say that sometimes the rates can be, confusing. We should read the rates. We should read the numbers correctly. Why it happened like this? Yeah, can I explain myself?
Oh yeah, no. Yeah, and you're exactly right. There's an interesting correlate to that. Work was done back in the early 90s on looking at premenstrual syndrome, right, in women. And there are some studies that reported it as about 5 to 6%. And there were other studies that reported it at 90%. And the difference was how you defined it. If you defined it as a woman having any change in their mood, well, a lot of women will have some change in their mood. If you defined it as creating some level of impairment in functioning, then it went way down. So that's why we need to do the research, is make sure we're having a consistent, if you look at, drinking in adolescence, that varies in areas. So I think it's an area that really requires good study so we can understand it. And I couldn't agree with you more. The idea of just restricting it, then we make it, as we call in the States, the forbidden fruit, as opposed to educating about that, have people talk about it and understand. And knowledge will usually, hopefully, have some impact on people's affect, how they feel about it. And then hopefully that will then drive behavior.
Yeah. Some students in our research, in our focus group interview, if I tell my teachers, for example, if I experience cyberbullying in online gaming, they told me that don't play. Because we think about it and we behave like this so many years, but now we awareness about cyberbullying. Yeah. We started to training about it, but we missed something. And that is why Irem is right. I'm sure that in the university students, among the university students, is cyberbullying also common. But we should start the training primary school, I think. Not yes. The university. We should start it from the primary school.
Absolutely. You see young children with their cell phones, 5, 6 years old now. It's amazing. And in the US, cyberbullying is actually a very big issue in universities. There's probably more suicides associated with cyberbullying at university age than in high school, although yes. Both. So I think it's an area that's wide open for study. And in fact, the US Surgeon General came out just in the last 2 weeks, really saying that the mental health of adolescents, and they consider that kind of 13 all the way up to 18, sometimes even early 20s, beyond 19 or 20, is really a key issue in health moving forward, not just mental health, but in health. And we're going to be seeing a lot more money available for research. So I think Bülent is onto something, and the SEED group would be an excellent group to start that with, because the members in SEED, they have grown up with technology as part of their life. Unlike Bülent and I, when we dialed a telephone, you had to either push a button or put a little circle. People don't understand that, well, we're of a different generation. So I think the SEED group, the future is our students anyway. This would be an excellent project. Some of them might have even had experience with it, and we should follow up on that. And again, based on the interesting and provocative thoughts that you shared in your presentation. So thank you.
And I may add to what David said. Our SEED members will be the caretakers of the new generation in future. So you are right, Emel. They should, or it should be considered starting from the very beginning, primary schools. But through SEED, we can have a direction to the primary schools at different cultures. Let's be very serious about studying on this. Thank you for bringing us.
Yeah, we can conduct another research, and I'm happily involved if you want.
Yeah, please do so.
Yes.
Great.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you very much.
We thank you a lot. Ferhat, do you have anything to say before we close?
No, just actually, it's like sometimes I get hopeless like that. It's it's human kind nature to be harsh in each other, and like cyberbullying, it's easy way, and you don't have any responsibilities, and you can just easily just simulate person, and it's actually it's like nature. I don't know. It's just that's all I want to say. We can actually do trainings or do other things to decrease the number or just to decrease the burden on it. But it's like, actually no one teach us to use internet in that way, like to insult others, but we do it carelessly. We just it's like, I don't know.
Yeah, I want to add something when you say this, and I remember actually we see that the technical skills, the children's technical skills in Turkey is not inadequate. They can use internet technologies well. For example, they experience a cyberbullying. They can appear offline. However, if they are online, but they can appear offline, or they can block some other, or for example, they can use internet anonymously or fake names, etc., etc. They can do that. We need to actually, I think we need some other skills. For example, anger control, the mahremiyet, privacy, because especially the adolescents, they think that if we are the best friends, we should share everything with each other. And we see that some of the cyberbullying is caused because of the non-privacy. They share their passwords and all things with each other. And when they this relationship get bad or worse, they share all things on the social media because they know their passwords each other. And I always say that we cannot cope with only cyberbullying. Let's do sometimes the teachers tell me that let's do something about cyberbullying. But cyberbullying, it is not a limited thing. There are so many sides. We should know about our rights. We should know about the other people's rights. We should know about respect, anger control, etc., etc. That is why I said that we should start in the primary school. Friendship, internet usage, privacy, and some other things. Thank you. Yeah, I should stop.
No, it's great.
You have underlined excellent points.
Yeah.
Thank you for being with us.
Thank you very much for this nice discussion. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye. Have a nice day.
Thanks.
You too. Thank you.
Bye for the time for now.
Enjoy your weekend, everyone.
Yeah, enjoy your
Thank
weekend.
you.
Have a nice day. Bye-bye.